Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
So Leader Schumer, this talk about election security has revived discussions of the SAVE Act, which you have said you oppose. Proponents of it say that it's, to have ID, you have to prove U.S. citizenship to be able to vote. Though some of the claims they make, to be clear, are overstated. We know there's not widespread election fraud. But polling does suggest, there's a new Pew Research poll, that 95% of Republicans, but also 71% of Democrats like this idea. So why do you not?
It's Jim Crow 2.0. And I called it Jim Crow 2.0, and the right wing went nuts all over the internet. That's because they know it's true. What they're trying to do here is the same thing that was done in the South for decades to prevent people of color from voting. For instance, if you change, you're a woman who got married and changed your last name, you won't be able to show ID and you'll be discriminated against. If you can't find a birth certificate or a proper ID, you'll be discriminated against. This is vicious and nasty. And I said to our Republican colleagues, it will not pass the Senate. You will not get a single Democratic vote in the Senate. We're not reviving Jim Crow all over the country.
All right, more lies from Chuck Schumer. 71% of Democrats approve of it. 95% of Republicans. It's supposed to be of, for, and by the people. And yet he wants to be the arbiter of reality. He wants to tell us that it's Jim Crow 2.0. It's Jim Crow 2.0 to keep illegals from voting in our elections and affecting where U.S. tax dollars go. It's Jim Crow 2.0 to say that we want to have free and fair elections. And by the way, the SAVE Act doesn't go far enough. And if we don't get rid of machines and mail-in ballots, it's not going to make much of a difference. We know about the machines, we know about the mail-in ballots, we know about all the mechanisms that they have to steal elections. MS Now says that doesn't exist. They're a bunch of liars. And I think we're closer now than we've ever been to a civil war because people are like, I just won't vote. I'm not going to do it anymore, but I'm not giving up my rights anymore either. I want to take you to a throwback clip from 2012 when Barack Obama was asked to show his ID to vote. Play it.
He needs an ID.
Oh, you're right. Hold on. I got my driver's license. Here you go.
So how far have we really fallen? How far we have fallen when Kabuki Theater is what runs everything? That it's not of, for, and by the people. It's a group of old white people that frankly are past their prime. They should retire, move on. 30, 35 years they serve while the country just falls into complete disrepair. These are all people that were selected, not elected. And as we indoctrinate children and do things to harm our communities, these are the people that tell us, hey, shut up, sit down, slave. We know what's best. And let's talk about more of what the federal activism is. We're going to bring in our guest here very shortly. But a federal judge, the executive order was made by Biden and it expired. So there was a executive order was made by Biden that was set to expire. And this was so that you had temporary protected status of 350,000 Haitians in the United States. Again, more on the doles and more on the backs of the American people, the slaves that get told what to do, that have to, kind of figure out the new suck. But that judge decided to step in and say, no, you don't get to let that executive order expire. Laws don't make a difference anymore. Play it.
This is starting to border on insanity. So Biden administration put in a temporary protection order for 350,000 Haitians. It was done through executive order, so there was no vote, there was no law, there was no legislation. It was just the Biden administration saying, I want to give these people temporary protected status, which he's allowed to do. Now, when Trump came in office, he could have created an executive order and got rid of it. But he said, I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to let it expire, right? Like, this is not the Trump administration doing anything. They are just letting the policy from Biden expire when it was supposed to. However, a Washington, D.C.-based federal judge, Ana Reyes, who is a Biden appointee, has blocked the Department of Homeland Security from ending temporary protected status, which is, I hate the way that's worded, because that's not what they did. No, the Trump administration isn't ending their protected status. They're simply letting the executive order from the Biden administration expire when it was supposed to. And now you have a judge who basically says, you don't get to do that. You don't get to let executive orders expire. That is fucking insane. This isn't a law. This isn't legislation. Nobody voted on this. This was just the Biden administration saying, I want to temporarily protect these 350,000 Haitians. And Trump saying, okay, I'm going to let that status expire and they can be deported. And a judge who has no purview in this whatsoever was just like, no. I'm going to set immigration legislation. I'm going to set policy. She doesn't get to do that.
We are in a lawless society where they think they can just treat us all like slaves and give rights and entitlements to people that don't belong here. This was never their country. But let me just build on this a little bit. The Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court, John Roberts, has imposed NDAs on clerks and staff, per the New York Times. Patrick Byrne wanted to weigh in on this. And Patrick says, methinks they know something this year. They will face the biggest case since Dred Scott, because enough evidence of foreign involvement in our elections justifies 47 to declare a national emergency. Will they second guess such an order? Interesting. But let's get to this before we bring our guest on. And Vince, by the way, I brought him on because he's a commodities expert. He's been on before. He knows about macro markets. He's an expert. I read every single one of his Substacks, and he does a lot of them. I read every one of them. Why? Because he's ridiculously smart. He's been 30 years in commodity trading and portfolio management. He's a managing partner of Echo Bay Partners, and he's an adjunct professor of finance at the University of Connecticut, and he's a publisher and has that Gold Fix newsletter that you should all be paying attention to. Even if you don't invest now and you're going to invest in the future, you should be paying attention to it. But I want to bring this up. This is a young lady that on why, see, no one is illegal on stolen land. This is kind of like a kind of a thing that we're going to go back to, just how ridiculous people that have a voice, they can talk on social media. But this one, she really gets it. Let's go ahead and play it.
Today, I heard a girl in my class talking to a classmate saying, well, they should just give us our land back in reference to deportation. I look over, this girl is white and blonde. The whole nobody is illegal on stolen land argument is bullshit. First of all, not one single place, not one single city, country, anything on this earth is owned by its original owners. Second of all, the part of Mexico that is now the US was bought. Third of all, the Native American land that was stolen was conquered, which is kind of just how the world worked at the time. And by the way, Native American tribes conquered land from each other. So I don't see you talking to other Native Americans saying, oh, you should give your land back to that tribe, because you don't care. If no one is illegal on stolen land, just go to North Korea, see how that theory holds up. Go there with no papers. You'll probably be stuck there forever if you're not killed. No one is illegal on stolen land, but I'm gonna call the cops when you're on my lawn. Additionally, every single nation on this earth, there is not a single one that does not practice deportation. And the only country with people that are whining and complaining about it for whatever reason is the US. I just think it's absolutely wild that Democrats are living in the United States of America and all they want to do is divide. All they think about is race. That's all they think about. They see people supporting deportation and automatically assume, oh, so you hate Mexicans? Babe, why do you think Mexicans are the only people being deported? That's on you for that assumption. If you don't want to live in a safe country, go ahead. We'll let anyone in. We won't do background checks. We won't kick anyone out. See who comes in. See who comes in and takes advantage of us, because deportation is how we keep our country safe. And no, I am not saying that all illegal immigrants are unsafe. Most of them are very good people. But what I am saying is you cannot just let hundreds of thousands of people into this country without any background checks, any vetting, anything. You guys scream, oh, guns should be harder to get. And yeah, they should, but you don't think that it should be hard to get into the country. Make it make sense.
There we go. Well, make it make sense. This young lady actually gets it. But everyone wants to say that we're on stolen land. No, this is conquered land. And with that said, we're going to kind of pivot a little bit. We have Tommy with us today. We have Vince with us today. And we're going to get into it, and hopefully we solve all the world's problems in a very short period of time. So Vince, welcome to the show. Tommy, welcome to the show. Tommy, so you gave me the chair. We got the chair. We got the Tommy
nice
chair, Vince. We got the Tommy chair.
It's a nice chair.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good, Joe.
There he is. Look, I have lots of questions. I'm going to get right to it. The central bank continues aggressive gold purchases, and there's silver shortages, and the market flew up. And I saw how you said that over the next 5 years it should get to somewhere between $300 and $500. I like that. For silver, there's a big disparity between China, the cost of silver in China and the cost of silver here.
Yep.
Which is creating an arbitrage opportunity for people to load up suitcases and fly to China. Is this a squeeze on silver? Are we going to see it shoot back down to 50 again? Or are we really going to see it kind of restabilize in the 120s?
That's a fair question. I don't think we're going to see. I'm going to have an opinion. I rarely just put opinions of price out there. I don't think we're going to see 120 again for the next 2 to 6 months. So it's probably a good time to accumulate if you're a buyer. Now, everything you said is exactly what's going on. What happened was when, first of all, there is a battle right now. And I want you to imagine, if you would, that the United States is actually playing from the long side in silver, and China is playing from the short side. Now, it's not that they're necessarily speculating. It's that when we threw Maduro out of Venezuela, we also kind of ejected a lot of Chinese influence. And in doing that, we cut them off from their supply of cheap silver in Latin America. So Mexico, Peru, Colombia are all sellers of silver to China. But when the United States threw Maduro out around January 2nd or 3rd, around that time, there was a simultaneous pull. The United States bullion banks, JP Morgan, I believe, is the one that we're talking about here, started buying silver from Latin American countries and cutting out China. And when they did that, it seemed a little bit odd because we're not particularly bullish on silver as a country. But when you looked at it against the backdrop, against the critical mineral idea, we need to accumulate critical minerals, and silver, although it's not one of the most important, is it's on the critical minerals list. And so JP Morgan started, and other banks, to my knowledge, started pulling silver in from Latin America. And the reason that messed with China, and this is a war, this is, for lack of a better word, a metals war. The reason it messed with China is because China owns the silver solar panel business. They own the whole vertical. 85% of the world's solar panels are approximately 85% are made by China. Now, I can tell you this, 85% of all the solar panels sold in Europe are Chinese. Another 15%, I believe, are Indian. But the thing is, you need a shit ton of silver to make solar panels. And China, with these contracts to make solar panels, with a shortage of silver, kind of started to panic. And it stopped at $74, $75. And then it just kind of exploded, which is what you noticed. 75 to 120 is where the market just went, ape shit. And then from there, kind of hovered for a couple days, a couple weeks, and now it's backed off. Now, my understanding is from reliable information is that the Chinese industrials who needed silver for their solar panels panicked and bought. And after they panicked and bought, a mysterious, reclusive billionaire named Bian Jiaming began to short the market. So you have this Chinese billionaire who's basically backed by the federal government shorting silver. Now, the reason am I saying too much, or are you with me so far?
Yeah.
I'm following you fully, and I'm getting an education here, so I'm actually taking notes, and everybody else should take notes too. So this is how I study things, and so I do a podcast. I bring Vince on because I want more information. He gives it to me.
Well, this is kind of like a soap opera now. All right, So here we go. This guy Bian Jiaming, the reason he's important, the reason I'm bringing him up is because Bloomberg gave him a headline story. And Bloomberg's always bearish on silver. But here's the deal. In 2023, this guy took on JP Morgan buying gold, and they sold it to him. And he ran them in, made billions of dollars in 2023, 24. So I feel like there's a revenge trade going on here. And JP Morgan, which is now the buyer of silver against this guy, going head to head. And who is JP Morgan buying for? The Fed, the U.S. government. We need the silver now. So they're
buying gold too. They're buying gold and silver.
They are. But silver they can buy and be honest about it. You know, the U.S. is buying silver and saying, look, silver's a critical mineral. It's on the list. We're building a smelter in Tennessee. We're going to put price floors in. We need to buy it. We're buying it for whatever reason, missiles, electronics, we need to buy it. But they don't have to be sneaky about it anymore. And now they're buying it directly. So it feels like we're setting up for another battle. And, you know, if you look at what happened in silver today, it collapsed. It went down to, collapsed from basically $90 an ounce to $75 an ounce. Massive move. It's massive. And who was buying it at $75 an ounce? JP Morgan. And who was selling it all day? China. So there is this battle royal going on now. And I don't know how it ends, but I'm betting that it ends with the market going nowhere for the next couple months while these two heavies slug it out. But if you look it up on Bloomberg, you'll find it's Bian Jiaming, Ximing. Bloomberg is all about how bearish he is. And I got to tell you, I mean, just speaking as a silver and gold bug, when gold ran up from $2,000 to $5,000, there were maybe 5 stories on gold and silver rallying. And now silver comes off the highs, and I counted 5 stories yesterday on how silver was overbought and how it needed to come off. So I just feel like the press has it in for anything that they don't have a stake in financially. You know, if it was a stock, I'm sorry.
So every time the JP Morgan talks, I try to leverage the opposite. So they said, don't buy Bitcoin. They were like, send me $1 billion in Bitcoin.
Right.
So, and the sell-off happened in Bitcoin, which they haven't talked about, where all the financial institutions says, let's sell now and we'll buy it back. And they're already starting to buy it back. They started buying it back at 65,000. Right. So, and no one's paying attention to that. You see these large purchases of, okay, now another $1 billion came in at 65 when it was at 115. They were selling off, and they were doing it quickly. I mean, the sell-off was fast. Like
you're right.
It wasn't. I mean, it would drop 10,000 points, but not before they unloaded $1 billion and people figured it out. They're like, oh, I got to buy more. Right, the floor dropped out from under it. So they're actually taking wealth again from the middle class, and they're handing it back up to the and they've learned how to manipulate that market, so they always win.
Yeah, you know, if I could just to corroborate what you're saying, you know, all through the rally, Jamie Dimon kept saying, "I'll fire people who buy Bitcoin or who trade Bitcoin. I think it's junk." And now it's at the top, and they changed their tune at the top, and they said, "Well, we'll encourage people to invest in it." And now it's come off 30%, and they don't have anything to say about it. Now, the reason I bring that up to just reinforce what you said is because what I just told you about JP Morgan and silver is not what they're saying. I'm telling you what's going on.
Yes.
What they're saying is Gold is a buy and silver is not. That's what they're saying publicly right now. Gold is a buy and silver is not. And meanwhile, it's not what they say, it's what they do. And the problem with our markets is, I truly feel this. We have been led to believe for the last 30 years that our markets are governed by this invisible hand, that the market is free. It isn't. No, it's not a free market. And I say that without even being conspiratorial about it. If you were to take a look at the Bitcoin chart, for example, whether you like Bitcoin or not is irrelevant. The way that the market is being taken down is a takedown from what's called a market maker algorithm. They're selling it very loudly and very obnoxiously, as you're saying, and then they're buying it very stealthily. So anybody who has any kind of leverage at all for their position is getting stopped out while the government or someone else is accumulating Bitcoin. Same thing with silver. That's what happened on the way up, and it's happening on the way down. Volatility is the enemy of the middle class. And when they need to get something from you, they'll throw a little volatility into the market to make it happen. So I agree with you. The markets are not free. The invisible hand is now a visible fist.
Yeah.
You can see them.
I mean, look, it took me about 5 minutes to figure out the Bitcoin deal. And everybody's like, "Oh, Joe, it's collapsing." No, it's a sell-off. It's a massive sell-off to drive it down. They'll buy it back up, and everyone will get back to normal, and they'll ride it back up just like they rode that pony up in 2010 to 2014, right?
They have more money, and that gives them an opportunity to have a longer time frame, and that gives an opportunity to wait you out. It's no different than playing poker with a guy with more money than you who can just handle it every time the ante keeps raised. The blinds go up, the blinds go up. The guy with the most money just laughs and watches you fold because you're running out of money. And that's what's happened. It's happening again. Absolutely.
Yeah. And we get caught in the emotion of it. They're not caught in any emotion of it because they have nothing to lose. They're playing with your money. It's house money, right?
That's right. That's right. I mean, not to mention that, I almost feel like, when you look at CNBC or anywhere else you look and you see the market on the screen, that's kind of like the enemy. It reminds you of where the price is. And because you can panic, they let you panic. And whereas a stacker or someone who owns it doesn't have to worry about the price because he's not going to pick up his coin and call up and sell it just because the market's down a little bit. I think financialization and leverage go hand in hand, and those two things have conspired against people with less than affluent means to survive in this environment. I guess in English, the Fed uses interest rates to make people lose money. And the people who lose money are the middle class.
1,000%. 1,000%. It's a redistribution of wealth using just another mechanism in order to suck more off the teat and hand it over to other people. So, and it's a very sinister way to look at things, but it's true. I mean, how do you can see it, right? Doesn't take a rocket scientist to see it.
Everything that's happened bad in the country monetarily has happened after the Fed was created. So,
yeah. Tommy, what do you think?
If you were to place just very simply, regardless of money making, let's just, even though it's not and, it's not or, it's and. If you look at this simply as a strategic metal, and what is it that they're pursuing, right? The Genesis project, they're pursuing AI. Don't get wrapped up in the emotion and the words linked with AI. Simply look at it as a new form of power projection. No different than the liquid fueled rocket, no different than the nuclear bomb. It's a form of power projection. If you look at the amount of things they did in the 40s to get the A-bomb, including using not most, but I think 8,000 tons of silver from the Fed. If you look at in the 50s to get the needed fuel for the U-2 spy plane, there was a giant, no one could get bug spray for like 2 straight summers, and no one knew why. And it's because it was a part of whatever precursor to it was necessary for the fuel for the U-2. My point is when not just a random military program, but a form of apex power projection, the new, whatever you want to call it, the rocket, the internet, the drone, stealth technology, every decade has their own unicorn. The new current one is AI, regardless of if AGI is feasible, doesn't matter. the government thinks it is. If silver is needed for the clusters, they will do everything to get. I don't even think this is just like some banks making money. I think this is above that. I think it's the U.S. national security apparatus, who provably, with provable U.S. history and classified documents, will do anything to get the thing needed. I think that's what it is. This isn't needed for like the tire of some fighter jet. This is their crown jewel right now. Is the pursuit of AGI, and silver is needed for that. They'll do everything, including crashing a market, using every news outlet to do it, and if they can't do it, to compromise them and kind of put their finger on the scale. They'll do all this shit. It's out there. You can read about it decade after decade after decade of when this stuff happened, when we needed to do it, and the lengths that they'll go to do it. And I'm not even saying in a vacuum that they're wrong. I think that's what it is. They'll do anything. They'll do anything to get this. If this is in, and it's not that it's silver. It could be cobalt. It could be iridium. It could be dandelions. It doesn't matter. It is a tool. It is a piece. It's a puzzle piece that's needed for what they believe to be a weapon of power projection on a global hegemonic scale. So yeah, they're going to do everything. Why wouldn't they? So that's what I think.
Vince?
Yeah, I mean, Tommy and I talked about this last month. The government's going to do what it has to do to stay in power, right? Powerful people want to stay in power. And what's the term you used? Apex projection?
Apex
right,
power
Tom?
projection, global hegemony, the top of the top.
Right. I mean, look, when we built the A-bomb, we needed to use all that silver, and we had to use that silver because we didn't want to let them know that we were building it, because the other metal we could have used was copper, and if we had used copper, we would have depleted our bullets, and we would have projected weakness. We would have projected apex weakness. So that's not what you want. Now, to add to what you're talking about, tying into the nuclear thing, we just announced that we're building a smelter for precious metals, a precious metal smelter in Tennessee.
When's the last time that's been done, Vince?
50 years ago. We haven't built one in 50 years, right? Right?
Tennessee is where we did a lot of the electricity production for the A-bomb. Oak Ridge, Tennessee.
Wait. Tommy, hold on. Before you're going to finish this. No, you're going to finish this sentence because you're right. Oak Ridge is in Tennessee, and Oak Ridge is where they built the magnets to build the bomb.
Right.
And Tennessee is where all the uranium comes into the country. So something's going on. I don't know why, but.
And another thing is, I think they used 8,000 metric tons of silver. And not only did they do that, they also went to the Treasury. I think they asked the Treasury. They're like, "We need it in metric tons." And the real friction. They had like a handwritten note from FDR that's essentially like, "Hey, give them the fucking silver." And the big problem was the Fed was like, "We only measure in troy ounces." And they're like, "Just give us 8,000 metric tons." And they're like, "What is that in troy ounces?" That was the hiccup. Was like they only did. But the point is not only did they do it, but it was entirely off the books. They didn't want any receipt of this. No one was supposed to know. And when they returned it, and this is in Garrett Graff's new book, The Devil Reached Towards the Sky, they returned, I think, to within 1/1000th of an ounce. They returned every bit of it. My point is they didn't borrow a couple. They borrowed 8,000 metric tons with no receipts, got it, and gave it all back. And I think you can actually buy some of it. But they were like, this isn't. None of this is like conspiracy. This is provable. You can go to the museums. I think you can buy some of the silver that was used in the enrichment process. So my point is like, yeah, we would do it. We would absolutely do it. Why wouldn't they? And this isn't even an argument for or against it. This is simply a rational observation of what have they done in the past to do this stuff. It is included. Like, yeah, why wouldn't they? This is the least shady thing they've ever done for a military project. Is like, let's drive the price of silver down. All right. That's like it's the most Boy Scout thing they've ever done. Normally it's like carpet bombing and like strip mining whole villages. This is like, yeah, this is the nicest thing they've ever done for a weapons program.
Right, and the banks are just proxies. They're just doing the work. That's all that.
as it was for the A bomb as well as the hydrogen bomb, which doesn't get talked about a lot, but this program was 10 times larger than the A bomb. It was the crash program in 1952. The top 10 corporations involved the market cap of the hydrogen bomb program was larger than the top 10 corporations in the United States combined, their market cap. All these things are used for proxies. This is how they do this stuff. This isn't woo-woo. This isn't you're out there. This is again, I keep saying it, provable U.S. history. You don't even have to go digging. You can go. There's probably you turn on the History Channel. You'll probably just by chance alone find a documentary on this in the next 3 days. This is what they do, and I don't even necessarily think they're wrong, but that's not the point we're arguing. This is what they do. This is how they do it. Why wouldn't they? Like you'd be retarded if you did.
And if it hurts China, all the better.
Oh yeah, that's a plus.
So I mean, can we get to is there a competition? I mean, look, I know there's a healthy competition between countries to do better than the other, right? But we have a domestic issue. We want to say that China is our problem. We have a domestic traitor issue in our own country. They're betraying us. They're literally doing the work as a proxy for China and other countries to degrade and destroy our country. And so, yeah, I'm all about making sure we put a little pop on China. But damn it, we literally are in a country where we don't have to go to China to get screwed. We can get screwed right here in the United States, like right here. Boom. Am I wrong?
No, it does sort of, it does. Everything I'm talking about. Everything
Vince is like, I don't want to talk about it.
No, we're talking about...
No. My volume was jumping all over the place. I was trying to fix it. I'm watching. I'm listening.
No, I mean, we're talking about, power projection against other nation states, primarily, I would imagine Russia, China, to a degree, India.
Yeah.
It's like that's all well and good and important. Yeah, but what you're saying is like, hey man, like the backyard's on fire. I don't know how correlated to silver that in terms of national security, it absolutely is. I think I said the last time I was on here with Patrick. Yeah, no, I think Trump should have started bombing Minneapolis a couple weeks ago, but that's my opinion.
I mean, look, while you're at it, why don't we just take care of the fact that our legislatures and our judges are pretty much doing everything they can to destroy us from within. So, I mean, it doesn't. We keep looking over there saying it's all these people. No, it's not. It's people right in our own government that have betrayed the American people. I mean, they treat us like serfs and slaves and take everything from us while kicking us in the face and telling us to sit down.
Yeah.
I just don't. I'm just not. Maybe I'm an apologist for China. I feel like I don't want to be.
No, I don't think so. I think. I'm sorry.
No,
I think we've been just from the economic side. We've unnecessarily, or maybe at one point we did need to let our industry go overseas. But at one point, we made a decision to willfully abdicate our responsibility of being an industrial nation. And when we did that for the sake of financial profits, we made a deal with the devil in the sense that we said to China and other nations that we'll buy your stuff because it's cheaper to make over there, and you'll buy our bonds and we'll be happy. China said, no problem. But China's got a culture, and this is going to come back to traders domestically, which was your original point, Joe. China's economic culture is like this. They go into countries, not the U.S. They can't go into the U.S. and do it, at least not that we see them. They go into countries and they say, we can make that cheaper for you. If you shut your factory down, we will supply you for life with it. And they create an addiction. They create a dependency. That's the word. A dependency by the smaller nation on them. They do it. They did it in Vietnam. They do it in Thailand. They do it in other nations. But they go in and they say, you make furniture in this country, shut your furniture industry down. We'll make furniture cheaper for you, and you'll never have to worry about making furniture again. And the country goes, okay. And then they become like a vassal state. They colonize other countries this way. Now, they couldn't do that literally with the U.S. because of the economic power, but they did do it virtually by owning all of our debt. And if they stop lending money to us, we can't buy anymore. We can't buy anymore, then our power recedes. Now, part of that was by putting in state actors, by state I mean CCP, China, state actors embedded in the United States, working as spy is not the right word, but it is espionage, influencing government, paying politicians, because our politicians are for sale. So if our politicians are for sale and a company can pay them $50,000 every 6 months to do something for them, well then all China has to do is pay them $75,000 and they'll get them to do it for them. And so China has been definitely influencing, and Russia as well, and other countries as well, but China has definitely been influencing our governmental policies for the last 30 or 40 years. Like, I'll give you an example. You speaking about Bitcoin earlier. Did you know that I saw a video from a Chinese conference where they were listing all the U.S. power sources, electric power, and they were saying these are the states to move into because we can do stuff cheaper there. And this is when they were mining Bitcoin on our power here. So they know our society better than we know theirs. Let's put it that way. And so they
can operate freely here with complete impunity. You cannot operate freely in China. They'll snatch you up like a I mean, if you're tolerant of everything, it will be your demise. You have to be tolerant of intolerance. Otherwise, you have to be intolerant of intolerance. If you're not, you're dead. It's what's happened in England. In England, Salafi and Wahhabis have moved in and have imposed their law because it's permitted. If you, again, like that girl that you had on the video, if you let everyone in, then anyone will come in, and those people will take advantage of the things that you promised them. That's a line we have to walk, but we're not walking it anymore. We're way over on one side. So that's my take. All right, where do you think we go from here on silver? Where do you think where we're doing? What do you think that, I mean, and I'm not just talking about silver. We're heading into an election cycle. The stock market is not being very kind. It's been pretty much up and down. You know, tech stocks are getting hammered right now. Tesla just announced that they're getting rid of the Model S and the Model X. Model S, they're getting rid of those two models to make robots. I mean, you see a shift happening right now that's pretty dramatic.
There are a couple things going on at the same time. One of them is your comment about the AI shift. Basically, EVs are not where it is anymore.
Nope.
And so Tesla is showing what he has to do. And to that point, you may or may not know this, but China just, they're in the process of passing a law where you can't have cars where the handles are flush with the door, which attacks Tesla. Because they have the handles flush with the door. You have to touch it for it to pop out. Well, China is making that illegal. And if they make that illegal, you kill Tesla's sales because safety reasons. You can't break into the car if there's an accident or something like that. Whatever. So it's all bullshit. There's that. There's another thing I think that's really actually hammering tech stocks right now. And I don't know why. I'm going to be honest. I don't know why. But Trump's nomination, his name is Warsh. He doesn't seem to be on paper as hawkish as people had made him out to be.
Right.
But
I agree with that.
Stock market is just treating him like he's going to destroy everything. And so I think by the time Powell leaves, he's going to have to cut rates because we are in a situation now where rates have to come a lot lower, I think.
And by a lot lower, we're talking like a point. I mean, we're talking, remember we were talking before, like I think we're more in that place now than we were before. Because there's no appetite to borrow money at the current rates. You can't afford it.
I'm on your side this time I'm on your side of the aisle on that because the K economy has spread, meaning there's the rich are still getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. At the same time, you have a Fed chair who's going out and doesn't want to cut rates, and so the market is worried that if Powell doesn't cut rates before he says goodbye, and he might not, that Warsh may not get there in time. So if, for example, if Powell doesn't cut rates 25 basis points in the next 60 days or 50 basis points, Wash may have to come in and cut 1.5 points. It's very dangerous, the transition that we're having right now, because nobody wants to lend anyone money, as you said. And that's because a lot of the AI companies have overborrowed with their CapEx expenditures, and they're borrowing too much money and they're crowding out real businesses. Simultaneously, software companies, software as a service, SaaS, you know this better than me, they're getting destroyed. It's like software as a suicide. It's horrible right now. They're getting destroyed, and believe it or not, the hardware companies are doing fine. So there's a struggle right now, I think, for the major software employers to cut costs, and I think they're going to do it by firing people. So either we cut rates, or things are going to get a lot worse. That's my opinion.
Yeah. So we definitely are going to have to cut rates. I think that Powell's going to sabotage things because of just how his mind works and who's actually the wizard behind the curtain. But even the new guy coming in is going to have to contend with the pressures that we have. Now, I need to bring this up to you because I had a conversation with an economist a couple days ago, and I said, listen, I've looked into the debt, the $37 trillion in debt. I've been able to verify about $3 trillion. The rest of it's just funny money, doesn't really exist. Am I on the right track? I think it's like 8% of what they say it is. And he's like, no, you're on the right track. It's just, so am I right that we don't have $37 trillion in debt? Or do we have $37 trillion in debt? Because I've dug really, really deep, Vince. It doesn't exist. I can't find it.
Well, it's money we owe each other, meaning it's money that the government owes other government agencies. So it's money that's been given out to rescue companies that don't need rescuing. I don't know where to go with this except to say that the money was spent, just not where we wanted to go. I don't know where it went.
What I'm saying is that I'm looking at our debt of $37 trillion.
Right.
I'm going and looking at the financials, the budgets, looking at where the money is, where it isn't, looking at how we spend money, how we got to those deficits. I don't see. I can tell you this: China does not own 50% of our debt. They own like 4%, 3%.
They're not even a big owner of our debt. Yeah, I hear you.
But I heard Forbes wrote an article. Forbes wrote an article literally 90 days ago that says that China has $13 trillion in our debt, and it's not true. And the American people are just absolutely being bamboozled by shitbags in the journalist world, who frankly used to cover Hollywood, but now that somewhere along the line they're economists. But it's not true. So who owes what? Because I tell you what, the appetite for saying I need more money because we have a deficit of $37 trillion makes sense to get more tax dollars because you have to pay it back. But then you get into it and you're like, it's $2.7 trillion, $3.2 trillion. It's not $37 trillion, which makes me go, okay, why do they keep taking so much from the American people, right? Government's gonna kill me off. They hate me.
I don't know what to say except your comment about $13 trillion. Did Forbes really say that? That's ridiculous. It's just not true. China isn't even our number one treasury holder anymore. It's Japan. And to say that they have more than 10% of our treasury losses, which is what they are, their losses, I think is crazy. I don't know where this money is or where it went or where it's coming from. But I agree with you.
I can't find it. I dug pretty deep, bro. I mean, I've spent the last 3 weeks digging. And
it's all in the Cayman Islands. It's on Epstein's Island.
I'm telling you right now, we are not $37 trillion in debt. It's a lie. It's a lie. Sorry. It's funny money.
I don't know. I don't know how to find it. I can't. I don't know what to say.
But I guess I asked you the question because I asked the other economist. I can't remember who I was talking to, and he said, "Yeah, Joe, the debt's not $37 trillion. Everybody knows that. I was like, then why are they lying to us?
Right. What purpose does it serve? I don't understand that.
Take more off the bite out of the apple. Instead of 55% of your money, they take 56, 57. The thirst is unquenchable because you have all this. That's why Congress isn't worried about it, because they're like, yeah, these idiots think it's $37 trillion. Let's raise their taxes. And it's not.
Why wouldn't they lie about it? Not that, regardless of the reasoning behind it, just as a premise. Why wouldn't they lie about X?
Yeah, I know.
They lied about every, like, that's again kind of how I look at it. Like, if they've lied about every, why would they not lie? If it serves a purpose, be it to bang over the middle class more for taxes, to tell them why we can't spend as much on services, right? Because allegedly we spend more servicing the interest on the debt than we do the DoD. If it's a way to, I don't know, feign weakness to other countries for whatever reason that would be. If there is a genuine benefit in their mind to them, why wouldn't they do it? I mean, again, like why? Again, it's like they'll blow Kennedy's head off. Like, yeah, they'll also fib about how much the tab is. That's again kind of how I look. Why wouldn't they lie about it? If it was in their nature, or not their nature, if it was in their interests, why wouldn't they? Again, it's like, grow up. Like, why wouldn't they?
Yeah, I mean, again, I just asked the question because, nobody ever digs in, right? And so I was like, all right, let's go dig. And then I dig, and I was like, this is bullshit. We have a debt calculator that's $38 trillion, and I go dig into it, and they're like, no, it's not. And I went back 15 years, so maybe I'm a retard. Maybe I just don't know what I'm doing. Maybe math is not math anymore. Common Core says we have to round up from 2 trillion to 37 or 38 trillion. Make it make sense.
It sounds right.
It's also not something you necessarily be. Your first instinct wouldn't be to question that, right? Your first instinct would be, if they're lying about it, they're making it not seem as bad, right? Because that would be your first. Be like, they said it's 37, it's probably 57. That's kind of our first knee-jerk reaction, to be like, they're probably covering up. I mean, if they are doing it, you gotta tip your hat. It's not a lie I would expect out of them. Just being totally honest, I would imagine that they'd be, they'd be saying it's only 37 if it was actually 107. Yeah, as far as lies go, it's pretty sly.
Who knows? I certainly don't. So 3 years, we'll be at 300.
I think 3 years, definitely 150. But I'm looking more at like, gold at like 10, 15,000 in 3 years. I think that's equally well. Excuse me. Hold on.
I can't imagine having one gold 1 ounce coin being worth 50 grand.
I know, I can't either. But maybe it'll cost 10 grand to buy a loaf of bread. Who the hell knows? But
it's true.
That's the only way it makes sense. Gold can't keep going up unless the rest of the world realizes that the dollar's worth shit. And that's what's going to happen. All the fiat's going to be debased against gold.
But it's being debased against a debt load, too, because keep in mind, that's a part of the equation.
Right. That's
America has.
That's exactly it. That's what banks are doing right now. Like central banks, governments, they're all buying gold. And nobody's asking what they're buying gold with. They're not buying gold with money that they already have. They're printing money to buy gold. Even JP Morgan, in one of their reports, quietly said this. They used a euphemism. They said, central banks are buying gold and they don't care about price. The word they used was their demand for gold, their appetite for gold, their hunger for gold is inelastic. And that seems significant, but it glosses over the real point. The real point is, how are they paying for it if they don't care about price? Well, they are now literally printing money to buy gold. They're not selling their Steinway piano. They're creating money to buy gold. So how many tons does India buy? They buy 30 tons a quarter. I'm making that number up, but it's the point is it's consistent. When gold goes at when gold was trading $1,000, they buy 30 tons in a quarter. When gold is trading $3,000, they buy 30 tons in a quarter. They buy the same amount every month without any care about the price. That would be like us going and buying filet mignon at the highest price, the same amount of filet that we buy at the lowest price. Central banks are printing money to buy gold and silver now. And the reason I bring that up so pointedly is because all of the banks aren't going to admit, they're not going to sell their currency. They're just going to buy something with it. And that's what China did. And that's why the loaf of bread is $10,000 5 years from now, in my opinion. Or let's put it this way. The grains that you make the loaf of bread with, it's going to be like $5,000. So that's it. Central banks are admitting that there's too much money out there, and they're cheating as we speak. They're printing. Your point about the debt, $37 trillion. Well, where's that debt? I don't know. Where's all the money that governments print? What have they bought with it? They're buying gold with it now. At least the other countries are.
Yeah, I mean that's the scary part, because then you see this break with BRICS, and I know that I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but to depeg from the dollar, get back to a gold standard, institute like a second parallel track of economies. You have some of the biggest economies in the world with Russia and China and Brazil and India that are all kind of banding together. You have other nations that are saying, I want to be a part of BRICS. And the United States is actually not becoming the darling of anybody's world, while we're lying to our own people about our debt load, and which also we're lying to the rest of the world about what our debt load is. So it makes us look like we're devalued. It's almost like we're trying to, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy to basically destroy the country.
It's really 4D chess. I mean, to Tommy's point, why would you say that your debt is worse than it is? But the flip side of that is, why would they ever tell the truth? Because when you tell the truth, you give up control. And the last thing they want is control.
It's not like 4D chess. It's like 25D chess. Because then you're screwing the people that you're actually taking money from, and they're using it for whatever they want, while just creating more of an institutional enslavement environment for the United States. Maybe it's just me. It's not you, it's me. It's not you, it's me. Well, okay, Vince, thanks for joining us. I do appreciate it. I appreciate your input. It's always great to have you on. Keep writing and giving me ideas of what I can not invest in and what I can invest in.
Don't invest in anything. Don't invest in anything you don't hold right now, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, especially right now, you just got to kind of close your eyes when you actually buy stocks and be like, all right, we're going to just get through this.
I know. Thanks for having me on, Joe. I really appreciate it. Tommy, good to see you again.
It's always good to see you. And how can people follow you, even though I already know?
Goldfix. You can follow me on Goldfix. That's VBL, Victor Boy Larry, Goldfix, on Substack, so goldfix.com. Or you can find me on Twitter, X, I should say, at Soren Decay or VBL's Ghost. I have 2 accounts there. There it is. Thank you very much for showing that.
All right.
Have a great day. Thank you for having
brother.
me.
All right. God bless you, brother. Vince is one of my favorites. It's hard not to have him as a favorite, though. He's just ridiculously smart. And if you don't subscribe to his Substack, I'm telling you right now, you need to subscribe to his Substack. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to uncover some more election fraud. You in for that, Tommy?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's jump on it. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
In every thread, in every stitch, Honor-Bound USA weaves the fabric of the American spirit. It's not just apparel, it's a testament to God, family, and country. At Honor-Bound USA, we're a family of patriots who put our faith, family, and America first. When you visit our website, you'll find a line of products that embody our commitment to pray, stand, speak, and act. As the official site for the Untamed podcast, all of our products proclaim speaking the truth with courage. We also have the powerful documentary from Professor David Clements, Let My People Go. Identify yourself as one of the few who are willing to stand for what they believe in. Join the Honor-Bound USA family today. Wear it as a badge of honor, commitment to the values that shape us, and a pledge to the bright future we will build together. Because when you're honor-bound, you're not just wearing a brand, you're embodying a lifestyle. Hi, I'm Joe, Supreme Leader of DCF Guns. What is DCF Guns, you ask? We're the best damn gun store and range in the universe. Do we have guns? We have all the guns. We got small guns. We got big guns. We even have beastly guns. We offer all types of training, and we have 5 ranges across our 3 locations. I'm a good shot. And of course, we have all types of ammo. We even have flamethrowers. Woo! We offer incredible membership opportunities, and members save even more on guns, ammo, and accessories. Military, both active and retired, and first responders get up to 40% off memberships. Come join the DCF family today, where we keep the range hot and the deals hotter. It's hot. All right, so let's dive into it. Let's go ahead and bring Tommy in. Just get him in here right away. Out of his chair. Okay. Let's. I told you before that I wanted to uncover some of the fraud in the people in these organized criminal families, and tomorrow we're going to be talking about the Colorado Supreme Court justice that just resigned, and the lies that they tell over and over and over again. And we're going to talk about how the media covers up those lies. And it's purposeful. They cover up the lies purposefully. So let's start with this. Here's an article from June of 2022. And we've been dealing in and building these mind maps. And these mind maps tell us who's in the criminal cartel family. And if I'm being honest, some of the things that you guys should know about is that we're out collecting information in real time. We're out watching these people. Before I do that, I want you to see something. So one of the things that is, if you go on Facebook and you go through Facebook and it says, people you may know. And what it tells you is that those people were on your Facebook page. They were looking at you. And over the last 3 or 4 weeks, some familiar faces keep popping up on my Facebook as people that I should know. Now, I don't visit these people. I don't visit their pages. I don't go to say hello to them. I don't say boo to them, but it seems like they spend a lot of time with me living rent-free in their head. Now, usually that means that I have to watch my back because this is the cartel we're talking about. And so it gives me pause and allows for me to make sure that I'm extra careful. But let's pick up the picture of these 2 people that keep visiting my Facebook page and checking out some of the videos that I put up on how we're going to protect. Oh, there's one. Jenna Griswold, Miss Porky Pig herself. Looks like she's hanging out on Facebook. I wonder if they watched my video. You think they watched my video? Damien, you think they watched my video? I think they might. Here's the other one. Here's the other one. Oh, look at this guy. Jared Paulus. Jared Paulus is hanging out on my Facebook page. That's what you call knowing, that they know that I know that they're going to jail. They're going to be arrested. What are they worried about? I'm going to tell you what they're worried about. They're worried about the story we're going to do tomorrow on a Supreme Court justice who was drunk, ran and did over $100,000 in damage, didn't show up for court, had a bench warrant issued for arrest, committed a second crime as a Supreme Court justice. And in both cases, drunker than a stuck pig when she ran into a bunch of cars. I mean, drunk. Ran through a bunch of cars. Supreme Court justice. Care to hear what Supreme Court justice said? You know who I am. Now, here's the interesting part about all of this stuff that's happened. You have a case that right now is before the federal court for bribery in the state of Colorado. It involves Phil Weasel Weiser, the Attorney General that wants to run for governor of Colorado.
It involves the Secretary of State, Jenna Griswold. It involves Jared Polis, who interfered with a legislative session in order to hide information related to the impropriety. The Synagogue of Satan crew. The people that want to tell you that they're here to take care of you, they care about you. They want to tell you that, from what I'm saying, from my perch here, that I'm anti-Semitic, but I'm not. Nothing about me is anti-Semitic. Nothing about me cares if you're a purple dinosaur. I don't care. What I care about is, do you steal and rob and commit crimes against the people of Colorado? And the three of you pieces of garbage do. But there's more. But I want to say thank you for coming to my Facebook page and giving me some more stats. I'm sure when Facebook pays me out for being an influencer that you'll contribute to that and have to watch a couple ads going through my videos. There's a Denver News article in June 2nd of 2022, and this is Denver opens up the ballot process so that you can see it. And inside of this, there's a little, go up to it, please, go up. See if we can find it. Oh, there it is, stop. This is just to get involved, just this, quote unquote, this is really just to involve the public, to verify that what we're doing our jobs correctly and that the equipment is behaving as it should, said Jimmy Flanagan, Denver election senior voting system analyst. Man, where have I heard that name before? Where have I heard that name? Let me think. Where have I heard that name? Well, Matt Crane, who's the executive director of the Colorado County Clerks Association and the County Clerk and Recorders, and he was the Arapahoe County Clerk and Recorder way back when, 2018, I think was when he was booted. He's married to Lisa Flanagan Crane, who previously worked for Dominion for 18 years, and Sequoia and Dominion. So I'm just trying to figure this all out. So the former product specialist, Lisa Flanagan Crane, is the wife of the Colorado County Clerk Association, Matt Crane, working with the voter system vendor for 20 years, and we're supposed to trust either one of them. But then we find out, this is interesting, then we find out that Lisa Crane's brother, Jimmy Flanagan, that's her brother. And he works as the Denver County election official. Are you seeing all this? Are you seeing all this? I mean, are they really married, or are we just talking about CIA connections? I mean, let's just get right to it. You got fraudulent elections in every state, in every county, in every across the United States. We have not had a free and fair election in my lifetime. No normal group of people, Republicans or Democrats, would elect these pieces of garbage. We would not have 35 years of somebody in the House or the Senate. And I just told you that we're not $37 trillion in debt. I can't figure it out. And by the way, go do the research yourself. It's a criminal cartel. It's a family cartel. Do we have Tommy back?
Sure.
Tommy, what do you think of that? What do you think of brother, sister? She works and actually does the machines, and it's all in Denver. And then Matt is the county clerk and recorder, and then he's trying to do some stuff over here, and then he goes to work for the County Clerks Association, and he attacks Tina Peters and tells us how safe and secure the elections are. Whole family.
Back to the silver thing, if you had something as valuable as controlling the people in office, yeah, you would throw any and every asset you had. Why wouldn't they?
Why?
Seems to be a pretty why to control who gets into office, to see who controls the coffers of a multi-trillion-dollar budget every year.
It's a big business, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we just talked about the fact that they have every reason why they would lie to us about a $37 trillion debt.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody just sat down and was like, let's look into it. What's our debt really?
I'll be honest. Although I'm completely sold now on the logic of why they would lie, I'll be totally honest. I've never thought about it until 60 minutes ago when you brought it up.
I didn't either.
I'm a conspiracy guy. It's never even crossed my mind as a reasoning. But now that you say it, like, yeah, why wouldn't they?
Please tell me. I mean, somebody tell me. Somebody give me some logic. Tell me why we would make it fraudulent, a $37 trillion fraudulent debt. Tell me why the banks get to borrow money at 1% and we have to pay 6%. Tell me why the Fed lowered rates by 75 basis points and interest rates came down 0.15%. Tell me why they can actually control the price of Bitcoin and go in and buy billions and billions of dollars while telling you not to do it. And then when they finally open up and tell you to do it, it's because they're making almost $1 trillion on the transaction. Tell me how they can sell off their stuff, bring it down by 50% from its high, and then tell you that, oh yeah, you know, Bitcoin is just, this is a natural cycle for Bitcoin. It'll go back up. Tell me. I'm asking the question. How do you have an entire crime family that gets away with what they've gotten away with?
From my kind of knee-jerk first take, it would be, and I've thought about this a lot, why is it more and more apparent? I mean, fraud, crime, cartels, cabals, none of this stuff is new. It's not new in the United States, let alone human history. Why is it so egregious now? I'd say that there's, in my limited experience, in my limited, hypothesis capabilities, I would say that I think it was Tammany Hall said that he believed in an honest grift. So even back then, there was this idea of like, you can shear the sheep many times, but you can skin it once. It was like, hey, don't kill it. We gotta, fill your pockets, line your wallet, but like, hey, don't be an idiot. Don't kill this thing. And even then, it wasn't out of, ethics or morals. The very fact that they're doing a grift negates that. But it was a general, rational, sober take of like, hey, we're skimming a little off the top of the gravy train. Don't fuck up the train tracks to where the gravy train stops. So why is it happening now? My two hypotheses would be, number one, and I think Occam's razor would dictate this is probably correct, is it's just rotted through. In the same way that, the third or fourth generation trust fund kid certainly doesn't have the morals and ethics of, the dad that started it, your Rockefeller, your Carnegie, whatever, your George Washington, your whoever, The next generation, they're not as crazy, but they're normally raised directly by the guy, and, okay, so they can keep it going. But by the time you get the third, fourth, fifth generation, it's just coked up trust fund kids plowing Bugattis in a tree. Like, there's no... So, number one, it would be that, very simply, there is no semblance of discipline, of understanding. And again, I'm not taking from an ethical, moral point of view. From a very simple IQ and delayed gratification point of view, of like, hey, you can steal 5%, but you got to keep this thing coming year in and year out. Don't burn it all. I'd say that's probably what it is. If I had to put my money on it, I would say that's what it is. It's just... we're at like fifth and sixth generation trust fund, deep state parasites. The next, and I think perhaps less likely, but still perhaps likely. And by the way, the first explanation also ties in and explains, the rise and fall of empire. Those aren't independent. Less likely, but I think still on the table, is that they, quote unquote, and this then moves beyond the United States to the elite, the parasitic class of all the world's nations, but particularly the strong: China, India, Russia, United States, UK, is that all of human history is the rise and fall of empires, and it's always one end, next comes. There might be a feeling that this isn't the normal rise and fall of empire, that this is the rise and fall of man. And by that I mean, be it a solar flare, be it pole shifting, be it asteroids, be it aliens, be it runaway AI, be it, you know, the next 10 pandemics, there seems to be a feeling of grab everything. You know, there goes stealthy riding, and then you see the looting, right? Where it doesn't matter, cover your face, grab as much shit as you can, and run. It's not principled. It's the game's over type of thing, and it's ultimately flawed, because if this hypothesis is true, that you're at the end of the ends, well, then it doesn't really matter what you grab. You can grab all the gold bars you want. If there is something really happening, an asteroid, a pole shift, a 20 on the Richter scale earthquake, then it doesn't matter. The only reason I think that's possible is simply because we are in uncharted territories with AI. I think more than likely it's the first explanation. What we're seeing is the rotting through of the empire. We've never reached the fourth turning before with Instagram and Twitter. We've never had a real-time view. What's that meme? It's crazy to see the fall of Rome with Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, so it's one of the. I would say the first one. It's probably that. It's the rotting through. Anytime an explanation is too fantastical, AI is taking over the world, I tend to look back and go, that just seems less likely. But I wouldn't say it's 0%. I'd say 90% chance is the first one, 10% chance is the latter. Sorry for that word vomit, but
No. Look, the deeper I go into nearly everything, the more I come out the other side thinking, why do we do this? 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 And, you know, when you're studying for a debate, because I have a debate coming up tomorrow at Douglas County Fairgrounds, and but as a part of that debate that I have coming up, I want to make sure I'm prepared. I want to make sure I understand some of the issues. I want to know about the gray wolves and the wolverines, and, you know, what are farmers facing? I'm asking farmers, you know, what is it that concerns you? Trying to get to a place where we start listening to our constituents, right? I mean, and ignoring the special interests and the lobbyist groups. And, you know, how do we do all of that? How do I win this race? How do I walk down this path without catering to the haves and ignoring the have-nots? I mean, that's really it. I mean, how do I win this without doing the opposite, how do I win this by doing the opposite of what they would expect me to do, right? And you know, I find that the more I go in and I start researching this, the worse it gets. Our debt's not $37 trillion. So is it really $800 million that we're underwater under deficit in Colorado? We don't know. Because there's never been a comprehensive release of our financial statements where we can take a look at all those things. It doesn't exist, Tommy. It doesn't exist. They hide it behind this superfluous, you know, budget meeting where they have a document that's one page long and says, here it is. We're over by $800 million in Colorado. So I'm really just at that point where I'm like, nothing seems right. And we still have machines and mail-in ballots.
Again, I would say these are all symptoms of the first explanation. That, again, if you have a more measured, and I'm trying to use the term elite less because they're not elite, they're just parasites. If you had a more measured group like that, they also tend to button things up. If you have people that have the power to say we're only going to grift 5%, they also have the willpower to, hey, maybe the debt's $3 trillion, call it $5 trillion. And Alan Dulles wouldn't say, call it 37. He'd be like, what are you doing, you idiot?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is where you get to the place where every year they just add $2 or $3 trillion more. Remember, the Pentagon failed their audit the last 8 times that they did an audit by trillions of dollars.
Yeah, so to me, this says that it's, in a weird way, it's actually kind of optimistic. It's as Tim Dillon says, A students don't run the world. C students who are willing to kill somebody do.
Oh, yeah.
And that's actually optimistic because you go, well, what if we get some A students who are willing to kill? Then you win. They're not smarter. They are not elite, as Russ Baker calls it. It's a mixture of ruthlessness and incompetence.
Yeah.
And it can appear very scary. But that's all it is it's ruthlessness. To the uninitiated, it can appear that they're a monolith. But the more you dig into it, like you're saying, you're starting to look at it, you're like, wait, what? They're blowing it so far. They're not doubling the debt. It's $3 trillion, but we'll call it 6. They're going, again, this is the undisciplined trust fund kid. They don't know how to run a racket. They're running it up 10x, 100x. You're gonna get capped. You're John Wick. You're gonna shoot the wrong guy.
Look, if you
the wrong guy's dog.
If you look at it from the perspective, though, of trying to destroy the sovereignty of a nation, it makes perfect sense.
Oh no, it's brilliant.
You say that I'm robbing Social Security, so we can't afford to pay you, so we have to raise more money on that, and then we just slip that out the back door and use it for USAID while we're stealing resources from other countries. I mean, it makes perfect sense. I mean, heck yeah, bro, let's go. I mean, we took $19 trillion in oil from Venezuela. Does that mean that we're now running a surplus? You see what I mean?
Yeah, but that's the kind of thing that makes me think that the numbers are bunk.
They are bunk.
And again, admittedly, I'd never thought about this until this show. But why wouldn't they lie about that? If they're lying about shit like COVID, where openly, grandmas are dying because we're not giving them vitamin D, and toddlers are dying because we're giving them an experimental vax, why wouldn't they lie about the numbers on a sheet?
Well,
it's in their benefit. There's 5 more zeros.
I didn't even look into it. I did not even look into it until I started doing research on Colorado's debt, $800 million in debt. And then I'm like, okay, so I need to understand how this works. I need to fundamentally look at what the mechanisms are that create this debt and create a balance sheet, right? And every state should have a balance sheet. The government should have a balance sheet. You should be able to look at balance sheets and P&L statements, and P&L works the same way on a country as it does on a business, because it is a business, right? You have revenue coming in and out, entitlements that go in and out, credit card bills that have to be paid. And I kept looking at it. I go, maybe I'm off. Maybe my numbers are off. And no, I got down to like $2.6 trillion that we have in total debt. I mean, that's if you take everything. That's even if you take the balance sheet and you have money that's sitting on your receivables and your payables. They just offset by, $3 trillion.
Well, that can also be dealt with.
Yeah, I mean, look,
it's
I don't know what the answer is, but I'm just telling you that there's definitely a discrepancy. Okay, let's get back to Matt Crane if we can, because here's something that we talk about. Tina Peters, talk about the elections, talk about what's happening in Colorado, and Matt Crane put up a post about Tina in December 31st, 2025. Let's put this up. True election integrity demands facts over fiction. Tina Peters' illegal breach found zero evidence of fraud and only exposed to profound ignorance of secure election systems. Convicted on 7 counts, 4 felonies, sentenced to 9 years. Holding her up as a hero is disgraceful and undermines election integrity. There's nothing conservative about it. Okay, all right. Let me just tell you, she was never found guilty of election security crimes. Never. It's a lie. She got convicted of influencing a public official, giving people credentials. There was nothing in there that talked about what she did with the election machines. Nothing. Tina uncovered election fraud. This piece of shit, Matt Crane, is trying to write a big old gaslit umbrella over it. His brother-in-law works at the Denver Election Commission. His wife works for Dominion. He's best buddies with Eric Coomer. The skinhead, racist, heroin addict, Satanist. That's Matt Crane's friend. Matt Crane's friend is a heroin addict, skinhead, racist, Satanist who runs into buildings and does horrible things, like writes stories about how he raped his wife and peed on her, made her bark like a dog. That's Eric Coomer. That's Matt Crane's good friend, who he says Wasn't involved in the election fraud. Didn't say, don't worry about it, Trump's not going to win. I made sure of it. No, he didn't do that. No. While he lied for 5 years only to finally tell us, oh yeah, I let all the engineers get access to the election systems in Colorado and around the country. I did that. But here's Jenna Griswold trying to tell the DOJ. See, the Fed system, state system. And these states are doing what they did way back 160 years ago. And they're telling the feds, you don't run our state. We've captured our state already. Now you get nothing. We're going to have to sign the Insurrection Act. But let's listen to this Miss Piggy, Jenna Griswold.
The U.S. Department of Justice recently asked Colorado for unredacted voter roll records so it could review whether the state is complying with federal election law. Seems common sense. That request included information the government already handles every day. Names, dates of birth, addresses, driver's license numbers, and partial social security numbers. Well, Colorado Secretary of State Jenna Griswold refused. She didn't issue a detailed legal explanation. Instead, she framed the request as a threat, saying the DOJ should take a hike and warning it would undermine elections and voter privacy. But here's the part that doesn't add up. Let's focus on that privacy piece. Colorado already shares this exact kind of personal data with the federal government all the time for taxes, social security, real ID verification, airport security, and access to federal buildings. So the claim that the DOJ review suddenly creates a new privacy risk doesn't hold. Even more striking, Colorado does share voter data with private nonprofits and outside organizations that are not elected, not federally accountable, and not answerable to voters. Groups that help shape election best practices behind the scenes. So here's the real question. Why is a constitutionally authorized federal agency blocked from reviewing voter records for compliance, while private NGOs are allowed access? When transparency is denied to the government but granted to outside groups, trust erodes pretty quickly, and Coloradans deserve a clear answer as to why. Comment SOS, Secretary of State, to read the full article and subscribe to our newsletter for daily.
So the GOP getting called out because they already know the information's there. So they lie, and then they cover it up with people like Matt Crane, whose wife works for Dominion, whose brother-in-law works for the Denver Election Commission. So they've got it all handled. They have their ear to the ground on one side. They have the synagogue of Satan with Jenna Griswold, Polis, and Weiser, three godless Jews that don't believe in God. They're atheists. They literally do anything they can to destroy America, destroy the state, while standing on a deal and telling the federal government to take a hike. What do you think is going to be the outcome of Jenna Griswold telling President Trump to take a hike after he just pulled Maduro out of a sovereign nation while eating Skittles?
I hope it's something physical and brutal. That's the only way to deal with this stuff now. And this isn't some mindless call for violence. This is just like a very let's just rationally observe. That's the only language they understand. It's the only language they understand. You have a nice dog, you can kind of you can train the dog and don't do that. You have a crazy rabid dog, they understand force. It's just what it is, man. And it's taken me a long time to get to this point. Over the 6 years of the podcast, first 5 years, I've been an insufferable fence sitter and moderate. There's only one way to deal with this, man. You're seeing it. It's force. It's abject force. It's just what it is.
Well, let's talk about the abject force that's going to be necessary. Yesterday, I gave a interview. That interview was given to the Free As Can Be. And Free is a Marine. He's an influencer, does a bunch of stuff on TikTok. Pretty studly guy, man. Pretty awesome individual, frankly. And let me just say this. It was about an hour and a half that I did an interview. It was a governor's race interview. The Colorado Republican Party, the Colorado GOP, has removed me from the candidate list for governor. The Pueblo GOP, Pueblo, Colorado, took me off the list of candidates for governor in Colorado. Victor Marx called around to all of the places with other cabal members run by a man named Sean Tonner and ex-governor Bill Owens. They're part of a little group. There's a third person here. I'm going to verify some things about him tomorrow. You're going to love this guy. And they have this little group of 3 people that runs around doing the biddings of people that are paying them a lot of money in order to create a cartel in the Republican Party. The goal of that cartel is not to have the Republicans win. The goal of that cartel is to have the Republicans lose and make it look like they're doing stuff to help the Republicans. So they will sanction a candidate such as Barb Kirkmeyer, which is what Bill Owens did, while going over to the Victor Marx campaign and telling them, hey, I'm for you. Let's help you raise some money. Then they connect them with different places around where the same sort of small donor campaigns are created that you saw that funded entire campaigns. And when you get into Victor Marx's campaign, you're going to see that his money didn't come from Colorado people at all. You're going to see quite the opposite. And I don't even care about that. What I care about is that, like the GOP has done in years past, not just in Colorado, but around the country, they take anyone they see as a threat, same as tech companies, when they censor you or cut you out. They literally are saying, we get to choose your candidate for you. So I just have one question for you. If the GOP chooses your candidate, then are you really living in a representative government where the people don't have a choice and they get to choose and censor and take people off of a campaign and say, we're not going to put up Joe Oltmann. The guy, by the way, that has fought 5 years. For 5 years, I have been in the trenches over 200 flights a year. No, that's not true. 170 to 200 flights a year. Fighting for election integrity. Blowing the whistle on everything going on, giving up my time, my effort, my reputation. Well, I didn't ask Free to say this, but after he interviewed me and after we walked through it, he had something to say. And it's true. Go ahead and play it.
So yesterday I got to interview Joe Oltmann, and during the interview he said some things that I thought were absolutely incredible. He said things that nobody else has actually done. He said things that nobody else was thinking. And so after the interview, he invites me to his suite at the Avs game, and I got to watch my very first hockey game, and my family and my friends were invited, and it was absolutely brilliant. But the whole night I kept thinking about how we as Republicans love to talk about election integrity. We love to fight for this election integrity. But within our own GOP, there's absolutely no election integrity. Why does a person like Joe, who's perfectly qualified to run Colorado, have to fight to debate? You see, the GOP, what they do is they decide who they want you to vote for. And what they do is they take every chance possible to put that candidate right in front of you. They take every chance possible to make sure that you see that candidate in a good way. They prop up that candidate, and so you basically don't get to see anybody else. And so I'm sitting there thinking, here I am with this ultra successful, ultra smart person. He cares about people, but yet he had to fight just to get on one debate. How does that make any sense? And then I think about our independents, and their voices are never heard. There's so many people that could be qualified to have a position within Colorado, and their voices are literally squashed, and they're put to the side because our own GOP is absolutely corrupt. And it's something that has to change.
I had to fight to get on that stage. you guys will see the interview. Tommy, you'll see the interview tomorrow. He's going to put it out on the thing tomorrow after the debate.
I don't think it should be, doesn't make it any better, but I don't think it should be a surprise. You know, why wouldn't this be? If this is what we're talking about, right? This is the gatekeeping to the purse strings of the state and federal government. There's gonna be some gatekeepers, and they're gonna be evil. And they're gonna be, to a degree, competent. I would try to find, I'll put it this way. When I'm at the gym, and I got a good workout going on towards the end, and it starts to really hurt, or if I'm dieting, and I'm going to bed, and I'm like, man, I'm hungry. I've eaten all my, I'm hungry. I try to switch my frame of mind and go, this means it's working. It doesn't make the pain go away. When you're at the gym and you feel the burn in your arm and you're like, that means you're like, hey man, you're at that point, you're breaking down muscle, you're reaching that next level. No matter, even if it's just you're getting forward 0.1% stronger today. Or dieting, and I go to that, I'm like, you know what? I was overweight for a long time. This means it's working. That's kind of how I try to frame, and I've been doing that relatively recently in my life, maybe the last couple months or so. I try to frame that when I'm hitting turbulence, you know, over the target, taking flak. Choose your analogy, metaphor. That would be kind of my first response to this. Like, yeah, man, this means you're getting closer to it. If it was all just rainbows and open arms and I know you. If it was all just high fives and welcoming, I feel like you'd be looking around and be like, this isn't right. Like something's fucked. If they were like, Joe, come on in, you're our guy, you would be looking around going, are they about to shoot me?
I think that, you know, I did the first debate, and I had probably 200 or 300 people reach out to me to become volunteers, right? So, I mean, in a debate where I was at a disadvantage, I wasn't Barb Kirkmeyer that got fed the answers or the questions that were being given. And you could tell by the way that she responded, I was a negotiator. I can see right through it, right? And I don't actually care, but the questions were stupid. Mm-hmm. And when I came out and said the questions were stupid, the people were listening. And by the way, here's what they did on that debate, because it was live streamed. Every time I would be talking or answering, they would talk over the mic. They'd be like, and answer questions over the mic in the back so that you couldn't hear how I responded, but only when I spoke, right? I mean, this is basically the devil itself doing this. It's not me. It's they are literally trying everything they can do in order to enslave the people of Colorado. And it's not happening on the Democrat side. It's happening on the Republican side. Like, the Republicans are kind of trying to keep me from speaking. How's that? How's that work out? How's that pencil? When Victor Marx lies over and over and over again and bullies people. And I get a call from Mark over at Parker Conservatives. And he's like, Joe, you have somebody working on your campaign that's working on you, actively going after Karl Marx. I'm sorry, Victor Marx. Sorry, came out of nowhere. Who's 80% of his followers are sock puppets. They're fake accounts. It took that long to figure it out. And frankly, I don't know. Anyway, I want people to know, as we close this up today, I want you to know, Tommy, that tomorrow I am going to be at the Douglas County Governor's debate. Put it up. It's $25 admission. You got a little QR code down there. Scott Bottoms will be there, one of my favorite people. Jason Clark, he is a patriot, even though he got it wrong, that I was calling for any violence. I happened to talk to a couple people that know him and said that he's a passionate guy like me. Jason Mikesell seems like a decent guy. He's a sheriff. People say that he's not a decent guy. Man, look, I'm gonna say he's a decent guy, and then myself, that handsome fella on the right-hand side of that flyer. It is going to be tomorrow at the Kirk Hall at the Douglas County Fairground. It starts at 5:45 to 6:30. You can have food, and the debate begins at 6:30. Yes, there will be massive security there. I will have security there. There will be security there. If you come in to do harm, I just want to let you know it's going to end badly. Because there will be a lot of security there. A lot. A lot. So, and by the way, the security is not for the other 3 candidates. Security is because every day I get 2 or 3 different death threats, credible death threats from a couple. And so I'm going to protect myself and make sure there's people there to protect us. Yeah.
Again, this comes back to the pain, the workout pain, the whatever. It's you're going in the direction you're supposed to be going.
Yeah.
It should be.
I agree with that.
It should be. It should. Doesn't make it any less easy. It kind of actually does. I'd say it does make it a little easy because you know you're going in the right. And I've said this over the years of the podcast. You know, talking out about COVID in the 2020 election, destroyed the podcast, absolutely eviscerated the revenue streams, lost most of my friends. But more than ever in my life, I went to bed every night, and I just felt clear. I felt clean. I felt light, and that invaluable, truly invaluable. When you go to when it's just you, when it's not you, like we're doing right now, you're in front of a camera. When it's just you, as Richard Albert says, when there are nobody's eyes around to look into to tell you how great you are, when it's just you and God, you're clear, man. And I
You're
think
totally
that's
clear.
What you're doing is you're clear. And
Totally clear.
And that's what God wants for you, dude. You're walking the right path. When everything else is on fire, but you feel clear inside, you're marching to God's drumbeat. So, you know.
I would agree with that. All right. Yesterday, one of the questions that was asked to me was, how do you plan on turning Colorado red? Let me just tell everyone that's listening right now. If the measurement of success is handing over power to people who are just as corrupt and just as broken as the devils on the left side, then how could that be your goal?
Can't be.
And so I'm going to tell you what my goal is. My goal is not to turn Colorado red. My goal is to turn Colorado, return it to the people. My goal is to serve the people. My goal is not to serve the Republicans and be like, how can we torture the Democrats? My goal is to give back to the have-nots, to make the judiciary responsible for their behavior, to have a checks and balance system that allow people to speak and have a voice at every level of government. My goal is to rid us of a tax structure that is meant to steal from you what is never theirs to take and to treat you like an institutional slave. And if that comes on the heels of saying that I have to abandon the idea that the Republican Party stands any more for the people than the Democrats do, then that's what we do. We cannot put ourselves in a position where the fact that red or blue is what wins the day, because it doesn't. And if I have to alienate the very people that I've spent the last 15 to 20 years serving, I mean, that's why it's always funny when they say President Trump was a Democrat. President Trump's a Democrat. He's not even a Republican. He's not a conservative.
Yeah, I don't care what the title is.
You could care less.
Oh.
What he's trying to restore in all of this is a semblance of the voice, the ethos, the very spirit of what our country represents. Where we truly take care of the poor, not give it to Somalis and other people that basically shit on us as Americans and tell us that we're a racist society, which we're not. Or attack whites and then have a part of the white people say, well, I'm not white, I'm Jewish. And create another cult-like environment where they can just bear down and destroy the very fiber of our state while letting criminals on the streets to do whatever they want. I don't care about red or blue. I'm a Republican because I'm pro-life. I'm a Republican, but but I'm going to tell you this. The Republican Party is not pro-life.
No.
It's not pro-life. President Trump is pro-life. Man, I don't care how many children he's had with how many wives. That guy has never seen a kid he didn't like. In other words, he's a great father. The fruit of his tree is amazing. His children are amazing examples of what children should be. I use that same barometer when I look at my children. Who are my children? Am I proud of who they are? Are they good people? Do they serve others? Are they unselfish? Are they selfless? Are they willing to stand up for what's right regardless of the consequences? Those are the barometers that I use. But I don't care about Republican or Democrat. The Republicans don't want me to speak. You want to know why? Because what I say makes sense. The Democrats asked me to come speak. The Republicans tried to keep me from speaking. And then they prop up this guy, Victor Marx, who, man, trafficked a woman from California, dishonored a vet, did really bad things. I have a Catholic priest that's like, this guy is terrible. He's a terrible person. I get calls from people in the Middle East that say, yeah, he's not who he said he was. He's a paper tiger. He's an intelligence asset. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm going to find out. But Victor Marx is not a good man because he lied about me. And he lied and he propped up his family as an excuse for why he's not going to debate. That's why Victor Marx doesn't get any marks from me. And the Republican Party and running around saying that don't let Joe speak and he stands for violence. I've now answered it over and over and over again. I stand against treason. You commit treason, you should be hanged, period.
Full stop.
All right. Well, before we get out, I'm going to tell you this. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and more. We have a bunch of new things that we're doing. We'll be on Google. We'll be on now that I found out, somebody said that they were on Amazon Prime. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go get on Amazon Prime. That sounds good. I'll go get picked up there. I went and looked at everybody's show that got put on Amazon Prime, and I was like, well, I'm in the top 0.1% of broadcasts in the world with 7.5 million people around the country that listen to me, the audio or the video. Why can't I be on Amazon Prime? So we're going to try and get on Amazon Prime. So imagine that. It'd be kind of cool to be on Amazon Prime, wouldn't it? I mean, it's kind of neat. So we're going to go for that. With that said, go to, I keep telling you guys about this. I carry one around in my pocket. I carry this coin around my pocket. Let me tell you why. It's $1.99, right? Or $4.99 or whatever if you buy two, $2.99, whatever it is. I carry this around with me as a reminder of the journey that I had for 5 years. It gives me strength. It gives me the ability, you can buy the 5 set for like $12 or $13. It gives me the ability to have a cross on there, by the way. See it? There's a cross on that. Mr. Cherry actually made this cross that's in my office now. It's a big 6-foot tall wood cross. I carry it around as a reminder of the 4 things that I need to be doing in my life. I need to pray, I need to stand, I need to speak, I need to act. And I need to repeat it so I never become the very thing that I'm fighting against. Get back to prayer. All right, we're going to jump into it. Looks like we have some people from the UK that are here. It's good to see you, Tracy. Awesome interview with Graham, by the way. Awesome.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
He's
dude,
a cool guy.
he is amazing.
He's
amazing.
A firebrand, yeah.
Yeah. So I hope to have him in the United States. This is a call to anybody in Colorado. If you're in a county and you want to have a debate, I have independents that I would like to put on that stage too. Chaz, Greg Lopez, all of us should be able to come up with some ideas. A debate should be a debate of ideas, but it should also be an affirmation that, hey, maybe someone has a good idea. And even if the candidate that gets through on the independent side or the Republican side, we should be able to share the ideal of returning power back to the stakeholders, which is the people. So I think that if you're in Colorado and you want us to have a debate, we can invite the Democrats too. Let's get Bennett and Weasel Weiser out there and let's find out what they stand for. I don't think there would even be, it wouldn't even be close. But Chaz, who represents, he's up in Mesa County, Grand Junction area. Greg, get Scott Bottoms, Barb Kirkmeyer. Let's get them all together. Have a conversation about how they're going to help those most in need in Colorado and how they're going to eliminate entitlements and these overburdening taxes that we have to pay here. So let's pray it out. Tracy, it's good to see you. Mod Trend, you might want to run for governor. It'd be really good. You could challenge Newscomb. We're going to get rid of machines and mail-in ballots, guys, one way or another. One way or another. All right, so Father God, thank you. Man, we are so blessed. We have so many blessings that you've put upon us. We keep saying, but God. We bring it back before you, and we know that, but God, but you, Father, we would not have the ability to have President Trump in office. And while they slander him with impunity and they do things in order to indoctrinate and to lie, we do make progress and we keep pressing forward. We're at a critical time, Father, and we are even grateful for this critical time where we must be able to take a stand and eliminate the things that they have used to beat us with. Taking away the machines and the mail-in ballots and getting to a free and fair election will restore a semblance of dignity to our communities and give us the ability to fight back against these evildoers. And as we look at this, Father, and we also look at the elections and we look at who's going to be in those positions, we ask you, Father, to do the supernatural and to guide us to a place where a representative candidate will take hold of each one of the positions in Colorado and around the country. We ask you, Father, to give us guidance, to give us wisdom, and to help us to fight off this evil and push it back to the hole it came from. And as we look into the GOP in Colorado and around the country, we know that there are major fractures that happen because people want to concentrate on fighting each other rather than working the problem. So help us, Father, that we may refocus. We may refocus on the things that matter to our community, to our people, to your people, and get to a place where we operate unselfishly to solve those problems while setting aside and having grace for those around us that we may or may not get along with. I ask these, Father, these things humbly in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Father, Son, Spirit. Amen.
All right. I'll see you guys later. See you, brother, man. It's good to see you.
Later, Joe. I love you, buddy.
Right. Love you too, bro.
Thank you so much.
Rising from the fight for the forgotten and the free, exposing rigged machines, Coomer's lies, Dominion's deceit, pays a grand each day, shielding truth from corrupt halls, but he won't back down, standing tall through it all. Argentina Peters break the chains that bind her tight, hand count votes and one day bring the fraud to light. No more mailing scams, no machines to steal the night. Restore the people's voice, make Colorado right. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true, badass for the have-nots, fighting through and through. Abolish property tax, cut the tolls away, shrink the bloated state, let the people have their say. It's our rally call, truth and freedom rise and watch the tyrants fall. Untamed Colorado, strong and proud, we'll be one man for the people, set our great state free. Help the single moms, bring back trade school strong, opportunity for youth, where the brave belong. Audit every NGO, ban the wolves that roam, reclaim our stolen land, bring the power home. Eric Coomer's fraud, Dominion's rigged design, expose the stolen votes, cross a dangerous line. No more victimhood, no chains on you and me. He's running for governor for real liberty. Smash the fraud machine, pardon heroes jailed for the have-nots. Rising truth will never fail. One warrior defies the corrupt elite. Colorado reborn, strong on our feet. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true, badass for the have-nots, fighting through and through. Abolish property tax, cut the tolls away, shrink the bloated state, let the people have the say. Governor Oltmann, it's our rally call, truth and freedom rise and watch the tyrants fall. Untamed Colorado, strong and proud, we'll be one man for the people, set our great state free. Whoa, whoa. In the heart of the fire where the wild ones roam, Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real. No more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through.